This time 6 years ago, thousands of homes and buildings were damaged or destroyed in Columbia because of floodwaters. And to this day, there are residents who are still trying to recover. News 19's Tai Wong takes a look back at the flood of 2015.
It was rising so fast, you could almost see the water going up.
Columbia resident Jim Reed says it started out as a regular Sunday morning in his home just blocks away from Lake Catherine off Fort Jackson Boulevard. But shortly after waking up, he was one of thousands that were forced out of their homes back in 2015 after floodwaters rushed through the city of Columbia on October 3rd.
I realized something bad was happening and it was going to come into the house. So I started putting furniture up, chairs on tables, things like that. And then about a half hour later, a fireman knocked on the door and said, "Grab what you can and get out."
The next day, Reed returned home to find it filled with more than a foot of water.
It was shocking just to see. I had about 17 inches of water had been in the house, and just seeing everything in a mess.
He says he was displaced for 2 months. The excessive rainfall and Hurricane Joaquin dumped trillions of gallons of water on the Midlands, forcing residents to travel by boat, with waters completely submerging homes in the community.
A significant number of man-made dams literally just started popping, primarily in the southeastern part of the city.
City of Columbia Mayor Steve Benjamin says the flooding left nearly $1 billion worth of damages and killed 19 people. He says the city received more than 6,000 911 phone calls in one day. Mayor Benjamin says the Gills Creek community was hit the hardest and took weeks to recover.
It took a while in different parts of town, but that entire Gills Creek southeast side of town was the hardest hit by far.
Mayor Benjamin says the city was able to rebuild thanks to the community coming together and supporting one another during a devastating time.
It was literally all hands on deck, and you watched everyone. Watch restaurants, Village Idiot, and Religious Thicket, and just individuals. Everyone stepped up.
He says the city is continuing to provide relief to residents 6 years later.
We spent the last several years obviously getting people resettled, obviously recognizing that some land probably never should have been built on in the first place, but it had been over the last 100 years or so. So returning some of that land to green space, obviously using federal resources to compensate people.
Reporting in Columbia, Tai Wong, News 19 WLTX.
During the flood, about 20 inches of rain fell at the Columbia Canal, causing it to fail. Clint Shealy, the Columbia Water Assistant City Manager, said the water eroded the embankment. The canal remains dry and repairs are pending. The agency has settled with FEMA, agreeing to $42 million to repair the breach and embankment. Columbia Water is continuing to follow environmental, historical, and social impacts of the project. The last part of the project will include putting a direct intake into the Broad River. The total cost will be close to $96 million. Columbia Water hopes to get the canal back up and running in the next 3 to 4 years.